So while I was waiting for parts on the Crystal Chamber build that I just finished and put up videos for, I started another one, which was essentially attempting to recycle the last of my junk parts. And pretty much this grip and one switch housing were all that was left. And I went through my collection of sabers that I built or purchased or traded for, etc., and so on. And I realized I had yet to build myself a thin neck saber. So I did some thinking, and I always liked the look of Luminaria Unduli's lightsaber from the prequel trilogies. And thin necks, you automatically think the original trilogy of Luke and Obi-Wan's hilts. And I'm also old enough to have played the Dark Forces games when they first came out, so Kyle Katarn's saber with its reinforcement bars and its kind of beat up look, I took elements from all three and sort of said, all right, look, I'm going to try not to repeat things, but I really love the small maul emitter, and it, when used appropriately with other parts, makes an excellent pommel piece. And of course, can't make something these days without using something from Corvus, because Corvus saber parts are just too cool not to incorporate. So, alterations. Back to front. I used a Dremel and a light wire brushing to change the appearance of this from nice and clean to worn and rubbed. Here you see the remnants of the back end of a gold warden sleeve, which I cut down, bent and shaped, and fit inside the windows inside. Now this actually created a bit of a problem with installing the core, which I'll get to in a few minutes. Once again, Corvus, can't beat that. This grip was really marked up. It had plenty of holes drilled in it already as it was used for a test piece. And so I figured, okay, since I'm already cutting up what's left of a warden sleeve, I'll just keep cutting it up. And instead of trying to be clean and careful about it, I wanted the saber to be a mix of clean, good-looking parts and beat-up parts. Like, it's been through a lot of effort, it's been through a lot of events, and some parts had to be replaced, but it still has, sort of that Ship of Theseus original parts sort of aspect to it. These are cat tongue grip. They come pre-cut, and I just wanted to add them. They add a very good feel to the saber. It works very well in the hand, and it just gives it more visual interest when hanging on the belt that way. Another piece of the warden. All of these have been drilled and tapped, so everything stays put. There's the Corvus, and instead of using it as emitter or on the grip, I'm using it to give a braced appearance to the thin neck, because it just, you'll see it when I have it fully in my hand. It actually adds to the feel of the whole thing. Older beat up F-Taff ring. The only part here that's not altered is this assembly of three. I've left that pretty much untouched. I had to make a minor mod on the Corvus to get it to sit where I want. And also I apologize for my voice. I was screaming my fool head off at the Renaissance Festival yesterday and enjoying a good time. Yeah, Renaissance Festivals and builds lightsabers. Can you get any more white and nerdy?
Power off.
Apparently not.
Power on.
So the emitter here, originally my intention was actually to cut the emitter here. Now that would make for a short emitter, which means blade retention would be a bit of a problem. And then I was thinking cut it here, but no, the front's too long and that would look silly. And then I said, you know what? If I make this a short grip saber with the brace, then everything kind of balances. I mean, the head is still a little large, compared to the rest, but it still sits well. However, in order to get the result that I wanted, and you'll see that in a sec, I drilled and tapped a second set of mount holes because you don't get that nice deep look unless you're able to secure the blade plug properly, nice and deep inside. Oh, I also ground the black off of the front of this and left it roughed and heat damaged, so that way this looked like it was well used. I may end up scoring and scarring the front a little bit, but not much. I might take a little bit of steel wool to here and take it down, take the shine down just a little bit, but here's the important part. This sits in the hand so comfortably and so perfectly. Got the Vire silicone charging jack plug-in, placement for fingers. It just sits great, and even if I switch to left-handed grip, once again, it goes right to where it's supposed to, automatically. There's that middle finger again. And the other part I have here is to show you. If I had taken the easy route and included this, it would have added that much to the hilt. And as far as I'm concerned, then the hilt would have been too long because it would have made this look top heavy. So, using this as a guide for the buttonhole, for the charger jack, and for the threaded push rod in the back. There's your threaded rod. And of course, there's the charger and the button. You can see this is still a little rough. I may take this apart and clean it up a bit more. I may leave it like this. It's smooth to the fingers and it's angled well, so it just looks a little ugly. But this very highly customized piece required one further act of customization. The core that's in here, which is a Xeno 3 pixel thin neck core, would have fit stem to stern without issue if I hadn't put this inset in here. It would have stopped right there. But the inset takes up internal space. And I am not removing this inset because look at how gorgeous that is. It completes the look of the entire piece. You have rose gold, you have rose gold, you have shiny rose gold. The accents against the black and white elements of the hilt make the whole thing pop. So there's no way in hell I was going to remove the part that I was actually the happiest with, which is right here. So the speaker housing was cut away. The speaker itself, which is attachable with a simple 2-wire jack, is run to the opposite end of this internal inset and is surrounded with electrical tape and foam. So it's not rattling, it doesn't go anywhere, and it's safe for use. Now, all thin necks are not recommended for fighting use, but for twirling and very light contact choreography, they're okay. The only loss of having to move the speaker like that is this no longer acts as a resonance chamber. So you've only got the very end, and that gives it a mildly more tinny sound. You lose some of that bass. Excuse me. But up front here, I also had to cut the core down almost to the very edge of where I might have had to remove the securing screw from the front of it. But the core as it sits perfectly right between where my fingers indicate. It goes right up to the top edge here, and it hits the end of that inset exactly. So when this is screwed together, that core's got nowhere to go. The wiring for the core, of course, goes out through the thin neck, up into the base of the emitter. And this being Xeno 3, you have full pixel, and you have the lit base as well. So, here we have it. Possibly one of the most heavily customized ones I've done in a long while. Possibly one of my favorites, because this had several challenges to face. And, yeah. Just like with the with the crystal reveal chamber. I ain't getting rid of this one. I built another one that I'm ridiculously happy with. So, yeah. Just in time for Acolyte to come out, huh? So, there we have it. My newest, and now I'm going to take a break and hopefully not build anything for a while, because I think this mad rush of the recent ones I've made is sufficient for a bit. But, tell me what you think in the comments. You like it? You don't like it? What would you have done different? What stands out? Etc. Let me know.